2011 Caddo Parish Commission work session to order. Roll call, please, Mr. Clerk.
Dominic. Present. Johnson. Present. Pearson. Lynn. Bowman.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Lynch.
Here.
Escaday. Thibodeau.
Here.
Fox.
Here.
Smith. Epperson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay. I'd like Mr. Pearson to lead us in the invocation and Mr. Cox to lead us in the pledge, please.
Let us pray. Lord, we come now realizing that we have so much to be thankful for health and for strength, and we are thankful for the willingness to serve. We're thankful for this group of men and women who have dedicated themselves and their lives to the people that elected them. We pray now for this remembrance of this week for 9/11, and I'm sure that the rest of us will be thinking about that and commemorating it all the week. We still pray for the families that experience such tragedy. We pray for men and women that wear the uniform of this country all over the world and in the United States. We ask that you continue to bless them and keep them out of harm's way. Now, Lord, we ask that you have this meeting is conducted decently and in order, and that what we do here will be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Everyone, please face the flag. Proper salute. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Pearson. Agenda additions.
I have one.
Okay, Ms. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Baker would like to be recognized for, in addition to today's agenda. If I can get a second, it must be a unanimous vote. Seconded by Commissioner Cox. Okay, Ms. Baker, would you state your...
The National Association for County, Community, and Economic Development is having a conference this month, and being a member of this organization, I would like to open it up for any of the members of the Economic Development Committee to be able to attend this conference September 17th through 21st in Los Angeles.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Baker, and may I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Pearson, that Ms. Baker open the floor for discussion on the Community and Economic Development Conference, and we will place that at the appropriate spot on the new business. All in favor of that, let's vote to place it at that particular point. Okay, that'll be placed on the new business.
Thank you.
We have an agenda addition from the chair.
I have one.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pearson.
I want to let yours be last. Yes, I wanted to, and I don't know if it's an agenda addition to be voted on, but I'd like to have a discussion perhaps on the new business in regards to the oil and gas fund.
Okay, Mr. Pearson would like permission to add to the agenda. We need a unanimous vote. And to add to the agenda.
Excuse me, Mr. President, can we get a discussion relative to what?
The oil and gas fund.
I mean, what specifically?
Well, the appropriation from the oil and gas fund. I mean, it'd be specific discussion.
Well, let's get permission to extend the agenda.
Yeah.
Then we get a motion second of your item you want to put on there, and then if there's reason for debate before that vote, then
I have a point of order.
What's that?
If we're going to expand the agenda and he's got a specific motion that he wants to make that will require a vote, and that has to be brought to us at this time. If he just wants to expand it to discuss it and us not take any action, that's a different matter. Is that what you're wanting to do, or are you going to make a motion to vote, or you just want to discuss it?
At this point, it's going to be a discussion.
Well, at this point, if that's the way it goes, that's all it can be. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to make a specific motion, it needs to be made now. Okay.
But let me go back to something else. Okay, if he just want to discuss an item,
yes,
I think he could very well do that on the communicating if no action is going to be appropriate. So I wouldn't think that that's an agenda addition. Okay? All righty. The chair would like to have an item for vote to expand the agenda. If I might get permission to expand.
Second.
Okay, and we'll vote for expansion.
Mr. President,
Okay,
what
it's
is it?
relative to the administration being allowed the opportunity to help out with resources relative to the emergency fire situations in Caddo Parish.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So we vote again, right?
We didn't raise him. We gotta wait till it come up.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know what you expected me for.
Okay, that's unanimous. I would like to make a motion to expand the agenda to allow the parish administrator, Mr. Woody Wilson, to provide any resources or help that may be necessary in reference to the public safety and the public safety of property of our lives and citizens in the parish due to the wildfire situation.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded by the chair. I'm sorry, moved by the chair. Seconded by Mr. Dominique. Will you vote, please?
Is that what we doing?
Okay. All right. Okay, that'll be added in the appropriate place. Okay. Any further agenda additions? Okay. Any citizen in the audience today that would like to address this body on any item other than an item on the agenda where public comments would be allowed, please fill out a card in the foyer and get it to myself, and you'll be recognized at that particular time. Next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
Next, we have visitors, we have none, we go to reports, administration report.
Commissioners, good afternoon. Josh, you want to go next? Okay. Commissioners, Judge Young was on the admin report to talk to you all today, but apparently he made his comments to the Juvenile Justice Committee a few minutes ago, so he wouldn't be here today. He left the building already. The other item we have with Mr. Grubb's going to give you an update on the litigation that we just concluded. Mr. Grubb?
Mr. President, members of the Commission, I've come today to report some good news to you. We, as you know, Ms. Frazier, come on up here, Don. Ms. Frazier handles most of our litigation for the parish. She engaged in a trial last month along with an attorney for our insurance company. The case was Franklin Scott versus Caddo Parish. It's another case that arose out of a tree falling on a parish road, and in this particular case, the driver of a large truck, the truck that he was driving hit the tree and caused not only property damage, but some serious injuries to the driver. We got sued. We ended up going to trial on the case, and we got a decision back last week absolving the parish from liability. In other words, finding no liability for us. The case is not final yet, in that it's still we're within the appeal phase. But I just want to let you all know that this is the second time in a row that Donna has tried one of these tree cases and come up with a 0 verdict. And it was a very hard-fought case. I want to also congratulate a fellow named Ken Muscagni, who's a lawyer with a private lawyer here in town that represented our insurance carrier. But Don and Ken made a great team, and it turned out to be a successful effort, and I just want y'all to know about it.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Okay, we're happy.
Okay, Commissioners, the last item I have, somebody once said, render unto Caesar what's Caesar's. I'd like to take our time and do that right now and let you all know that back, I think in February or March, we went to the state capitol for State Police Association Day, and we met with some of our legislators, and we also talked to, in our meeting, we met with Representative Morris, Williams, and Ms. Smith, and as you know, we go down there, they always tell us no money, but this time, Representative Smith said, we do have some money, you just have to know what part to get it out of. So we asked her to help us with a water issue we have for the LCBG process, and I want you to know that through her efforts, we've gotten approval for $250,000. And I'd like to give her credit for that because she was very instrumental in making that happen. The other thing I had, President Epson, I did talk to Mr. Stanley Davis today and talked to him about that we are ready to render whatever support we need to help with the fires up north. So he's going to call me in case our help is needed, and we will immediately respond to that. And that concludes my report for today, Commissioners.
Okay, next order, please.
Next we move to communiques and committee reports.
Any report of committees from commissioners? Any communiques from commissioners?
Well, I guess this is,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Pearson.
Yes, I wanted to bring up something, and perhaps I should have brought it up for a vote, but, I don't think we can do that. I know if you are like me, you received a lot of requests for the use for funding. I mean, and talking with the administrations, I mean, the requests for funding have really gone through. Last year, a couple of years ago, whenever the oil and gas thing came, we had the people from Fort Worth, Tarrant County, to come over and talk to us about how they did their oil and gas and how it was their funds and how they divided it and what they had their plans were and so forth. I'm saying to us now, and probably I'm as guilty as anyone, that we're at a point with all of the fund requests and all of the times we're dipping in that oil and gas money for all of these good and wonderful requests, and we're dipping there and we'll say, well, we need to fund this, we can get it out of oil and gas. We need to fund this, we can get it out of oil and gas. I think we're at a point, folks, that we need to kind of really craft what we really want to do with that oil and gas money or how we want it to be spent and get to a point again, and we've been there before, that we would take these, and I'm saying that I'm guilty, take these requests that occurred during the year and really push them toward our funding cycle, except perhaps those that are declared some type of emergency allocation. Now, in order to do that, we need to have something written, some guidelines, some more guidelines perhaps, or follow the ones we have. I would like for us to consider asking the staff, because I know if we develop some guidelines for the use, we would have as many guidelines as there are commissioners. But I would like for us to ask the staff, and perhaps the president can do that, I guess with everybody's sanction, to prepare some guidelines for the use of that money and for the, for the allocations, so that the president can assign the draft of those guidelines to the appropriate committee, and maybe they can go through it, tweak it, and then come back with something that's solid for us to use. Because, and I don't want to really get on the soapbox, but we're talking about the endeavor with the city and the economic consortium that we're going to develop with the city. That's going to cost money. Where's that money coming from? What allocation is that going to? Is that going to be something that we're going to take out of the oil and gas fund, or we're going to take it from the money we get on water? What are we going to do? We just transfer some funds, video poker funds, to the economic development side of NGOs, or we're going to use that if we decide to do this program. But that kind of funding and all these programs, people used to come in here and they'll ask for $5,000 and they'll put their hand over their face like, just really that's a ton of money, and I'm afraid to look at these folk and ask for 5,000. Now they come in and ask for 1.5, and look you right in the eye, like, you know, I think you ought to give it because you got it. I mean, and 1.5 million and 3 million is nothing for folks to ask for, you know. And I don't say that those are not worthwhile projects and things that we ought to do. But I think that we ought to, you know, be willing to get with something and decide on some way that we're going to expend that money and come as close to sticking to it as we possibly can. Because if we don't, we got to, you know, start preparing for the future. All of that's going to, at some point, is going to end. And I think all of us want to leave this place better than we found it. And I think that at the end of anybody's term, whether it's mine or the rest of you who got years left, I think you want to look to the future 20 years down the road and say, well, you know, we had that windfall 20 years ago, and we still reaping the benefits. We still got some money, and we didn't spend it all. And I think that has concerned me, I guess, this year more than any, because I've had so many requests for funding, much more than I had in the past. And I just wanted to kind of relay that, and hopefully at some point, at your designation, Mr. President, we can say, well, you know, I want the staff to draw up something that we can take a look at and move forward with it, you know, and sign it to the appropriate committee. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yeah, I just want to say I agree 100%. We need to start making plans for that money. I think most of us were in agreement that whatever we spent it on would be something that would benefit as big a part of the parish as possible for as long as possible. And you know, Mother Nature has helped us in, I think, in some of that decision. You know, water's a big problem. Economic development is important whether we do it ourselves or we go in with the city. And I would hope that the list that we would get from the administration would prioritize and not give us 100 different things, but maybe give us 5 or 10, you know, in a priority. Because, I mean, we, the commission, are going to have to be the ones to determine how that money is going to be spent. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that we're doing in NGOs are things that we, in my opinion, we shouldn't be doing. Is stuff that school board should be doing, or it's something that maybe should be coming through the food bank or something like that. And because we have money, Carl's right, everybody and their brother comes up here and has no problem asking for it. Some of it, as worthy as it might be, is just not part of our mission, I think, you know, as the Caddo Parish Commission. So I too would like to really see a separate committee from and be appointed by the president to start talking about this, because I too think we need to prioritize where that money is going to go and what we're going to do with it. And just as a sideline, I just want Carl to know the school board is not one of those priority recipients.
Okay, that's it, Ms. Thibodeau?
Yeah.
Ms. Baker?
I agree with Commissioner Pearson. Also, I'm hoping that if we decide, or when we decide to make these rules and regulations, that we stick to them and be pretty strict on sticking to those rules and regulations, and making sure that one of the things we need to let the community know that we do have policy and procedure in place, and not that you can just come any time of the year and ask for monies, and you know, we look at it and we put it on our agenda, we vote on it, and we pass it and we give out money. So I think we need to educate the community a little bit more too, and letting them know that we have policy and procedure in place. And one of the ways that we let them know that is that when they do come, that we, you know, stick to what we say we're going to do, and that is, you know, a certain time of the year we do RFPs and we do funding, disbursements, and that's just the way it is. So I've always wanted that ever since I've been here, because now it's just, like you say, everybody say, the parish got all the money, and that's all I hear. Well, you got all the money, so, and I'm like, well, you know, that money may not last forever. So, I agree with you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Mr. Escudé?
I agree in spirit with Commissioner Pearson.
You just like to disagree and
No, I don't like to disagree. I don't think there's a problem. I think it's as big as perceived. Ms. Bryant, yes or no, top of your head, you can be close. Will our oil and gas fund balance pretty much be no less than it started with at the end of this year?
Yeah.
Yes, it should be at least the same, maybe
It
more.
won't be for that you transfer to the reserve.
Understand we
fund.
transferred. Will it be any less than it was at the beginning of the year,
Yes.
in your
because-
estimate?
Yes, because of the transfer to the
With
reserve.
incoming revenue, our beginning fund balance and our ending, if you take into consideration our revenues that have come in, is it going to be less than what we started with?
Yes.
How much?
It should be about 6 million less, but it's based on the amount that you're transferring. You're transferring out 10 million to the reserve trust fund, and you're not getting in 10 million.
Aside from what we're transferring to the reserve trust fund, I'm talking about money we've actually are going to not put in one fund or the other, just to hold.
Well,
What we're going to spend money on projects that ends up out of our hands on projects. Now, in that light, are we going to have more money than we started at the end of the year, or less?
I don't understand why, if to have the same fund balance, you have to factor in the reserve trust fund.
Never mind, forget it. I'll make my point myself. If you take out the 10 million that we're going to transfer, that goes from one pocket to the other pocket, we've got revenue coming in every month, and that revenue has exceeded, more than likely, what we've put out of that fund, except for the transfer into the trust fund.
Yes, the revenue
Yes.
exceeds
Okay.
true expenses.
Exactly. Okay, so our
You
fund
asked
is in,
about fund balance.
our fund is, I'm sorry, it's
Fund
in
balance
no
will
worse
be-
shape. Okay.
Fund balance will decrease, but yes, you have brought in more revenues than you are true expenditures, not items you're transferring to another fund, but items that you're writing checks towards. Your revenues this year will far exceed that.
Right. That was my point. Maybe I didn't make it clear. Okay, thank you. So, I just wanted to clear that up. I agree. I don't know why it's so difficult. I have people all the time, it's almost like they want to criticize us for having extra resources. They say it in a snippish way. Well, okay, now I can't help it the federal government's broke and the state is broke and the city's close, I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that. And I tell people all the time, we have this money because we didn't spend it like drunken sailors when it started coming in, like some of our neighboring parishes. And our neighboring parishes have spent their oil and gas revenues, and they have built buildings and facilities. And I hope they have the resources to maintain those once this windfall stops. But I tell people when they ask, that this consensus of this body, at least from my conversations with most of you, is that money, we've never had it, and we didn't really need it. We've never had great times as a parish, but we've never really struggled. But we were going to take that and identify things that would have a life-changing impact on all of the citizens in this community, be it through economic development, using it for infrastructure improvements in industrial parks, or whatever necessary to try to make things better for the people that live here. Support our local universities and a curriculum that may be in jeopardy, or a curriculum that we need to prop up to get started so that it could spin off other activities. And these are the things, and you all know we've been working on them. So I'm not going to hang my head in shame and say, yes, we have this money. We have this money too because we're well aware that the federal government can do less for us, and the state is doing less for us, and that we're having to take care of some of our own needs. The state is not coming down here helping with our water issues in the northern and southern parts of the parish. They're not helping at all. We're going to have to pull that weight. And they're not going to help us build a road in the industrial park up in Vivian or get water up there. And they're not going to help us get that road from 49 up there. They're not helping because they don't have the resources. And even when they had the resources, we're always fighting the bulk of the legislators from Baton Rouge and New Orleans who dominate the state legislature. So I make no apologies for not wasting that money. We have that money. and we're going to have that money to use it and to do life-changing things, and we have that money when we have an emergency, and I'm not sure what Ken's got in his mind, but I understand we've had fire, we've got drought, there's some emergency things. That's why you save. That's why each of us save personally, in case you get a hole in your roof, starts leaking or something. And I'm not going to apologize for being wise and being prudent. Now, with the exception of the entities that come for us annually for funding through the NGOs, yeah, I agree, totally. That's the time of year you come. Everybody comes midstream, forget it. And everybody that does come says, oh, I have an emergency. Well, if you have an emergency, that means if it's a nonprofit, you're spending more than you should have. But some of the things that have come from us aren't those type of emergencies. They're actually things that come up where I'll use an example, doing the Silver Garage. Well, I think most of us know we have that building. That building is worth really nothing economically, developmentally, as far as that's concerned, attractive unless we have that garage. Well, okay, it came up that it was available, and it was available now. We couldn't wait next year if we wanted it. Somebody else may have bought it. So we can't lock ourselves into a hole where we're so rigid that we say we will not consider any new appropriations during midstream. Now, should we get together and define what those should be, what we consider true emergencies? If the food bank should come, 6 or 7 months into the year and say, we're out of food, because and here's why, I consider that emergency. But if some other little program, a community program or something, that they said, well, we're running short, or we spent more than we had, or I'll use the farmer's market, for example. Not that I'm against the farmer's market. Come mid-year, oh, we're doing better than we thought, so we need your money. Still can't wrap my mind around that one. That's not an emergency. So I don't mind being open and sitting down. I'm flexible on these issues. I'm reasonable, defining what we should consider mid-year and what we shouldn't. But I'm going to do it. I'll do it with you. I don't want the administration to give me a list. Qualifying's this week. Any one of them going to give me that kind of list or start making my decisions for me? Go qualify. I'm not going to abdicate my responsibility and duty and put another burden on administration and have several people maybe get ticked at them because they don't like the recommendations or happy with them because they do like the recommendations. That's passing the buck. We need to do our own work. And I'm willing to do our own work. So, in theory, I agree. But as far as concerned, I think whatever money that's come out of that oil and gas, we have used it prudently so far. We haven't used it on anything that's reoccurring. There are instances that come up, and I feel good about what we've done with it. And I don't think it's in jeopardy. This body has two strong opinions, and everybody knows their business. And generally, if you look at the votes that we take when we do, we're usually pretty much together on it, and we hash it out. We just don't do it publicly. The public doesn't see what we do, but we hash our business out and go through it. And I'm proud of that. Like everybody's going to do a little fussing. My parents growing up didn't think they argued. Never thought they argued my whole life. We went that night, once we went in bed in the back room, nobody ever heard them. That's just the way they argue. I like the way we kind of argue and fuss sometimes. Anyway, thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Talks about all this money in the oil and gas fund, and it is wonderful and it's great. But Mr. Thibodeau and I know, and some of the rest of you know, that having the water problems that we've had up in our area, and you've had some too, that this money is not very much money when we start talking about a parish-wide water system, much less someday, hopefully, a parish-wide sewer system. You want economic development, put your water and your sewer all over the parish, you'll grow big time. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else that has not spoken that would like to speak, we're on the second go-round. And just for a point of information, now we see a discussion. We aren't going to solve anything here today. I think points have been well taken without us keep going around and being redundant and maybe trying to one-up the other person. So let's bear that in mind so we can have a punctual and effective and an informative meeting. Okay? All right. Mr. Pearson, second go-round.
I'm going to one up on John because I'm digging I agree that we have done well, and I agree that we've done well, and that we have those issues that really demand attention. I agree to that. But I look down the road, and I see us, not having any money to do any. What am I looking for? The bond millage that we had. Now, if we do capital projects, a lot of those capital projects are going to have to come out of that fund. Unless we find some money from someplace else. All I'm saying is, I'm not disagreeing. All I'm saying is, I think it's worth a look. And whether you want the staff to do it, or whether you want a committee that's designated by the president to do it, I think it's well worth a look, because with all of the things, with the water and all of those issues that we have before us, we're talking about taking some money out of that fund. And I just want to make sure that we are there and taking a look at it and understand what we got coming. Because if we have, God forbid, something that we don't want to take out of our rainy day fund, we're going to have to take it out of oil and gas, because especially a big contract, big capital project. So, just thought I'd mention that. I'm bigger than John. That's why I want to talk about it.
I have no further comment.
All right. I'm going to close this dog show out.
Okay.
I think we've been more than prudent, I think, in what we've taken out of this money. Realizing, Ms. Bryant, what amount did we put into the reserve trust fund from the oil and gas last year? You recall that amount?
17.5.
17.5 million we put in the reserve trust. Okay, so it's not like God rest his soul. Mr. Lord Leonard used to always say, we're spending money like drunken sailors. We are not. I think we're very prudent in what we've used out of these funds. And if we aren't visionaries and look out for potential investments, such as the Selber's building and the garage, I think that's when we'd be like drunken sailors. The money that we've expended from the oil and gas fund, certainly the revenues that we get will far exceed that. So I don't know where that concept come up that we were being a little loose with it, because I certainly have not encountered that within the constituents that I've had. And I preach about it each and every time, what we have and what we are doing with it. And the people that I run into are very pleased with what we are doing with those funds at this point in time. Next order of business, Mr. Clerk, please.
President's report.
Okay, I had an opportunity today to attend a press conference at 11:45 at the relay station at Highway 1 between Oil City and Vivian. We met with all of the emergency personnel from the state. Commissioner of Agriculture Strain was present, Chef Prater, Mr. Davis, our Homeland Security person. It appears as though the fires within that area are basically under control at this point in time. However, the deal is now that they are ever cognizant and watching, hoping that the wind does not pick up and then the embers may spread. I noted to them that the parish, in whatever levels of resources and help that we would provide, we would do so. That being the reason that I brought up to have us to vote formally today to allow the administrator to provide resources and the help that they can with this emergency situation, was in the event that something arose where we needed formal legislative action, that it would already be in place and we wouldn't have to try to assemble everybody for an emergency meeting. So that being my reason for asking for this vote today. And I'm sure that Mr. Wilson is going to be very prudent in what he does, and he knows what he can do within certain limits to help our citizens throughout the parish. Okay, Mr. Escudé, comment.
I just have a question. Are we talking about allocating resources as far as money?
What I have in mind, and I spoke with Mr. Grubb, my perspective of that it may have needed to be a special meeting, but we know if we resource allocate money, it has to be an ordinance. But I was thinking of things like maybe when we have a storm and trees are down, we can have personnel, we can use a truck, or we might use a backhoe or something of that nature like we do in storms. But no funding, because we know that they'd have to, you
Ms. Bryant, do we have any type of fund that holds some sort of emergency balance for those kind of things?
tornadoes, natural disasters, those kind
No,
of things?
sir. No, sir. Usually, we use the Public Works Fund for the items that come up in relation to emergency.
Okay, well, then, we don't have, if he needs resources fast, we would have to meet. But if you declare this as an emergency under your authority, I believe you could direct the administrator, or the administrator could, with your approval, do whatever's necessary. We can come back and appropriate funding at the proper time. I will support this, but I will only support if it's anything outside of our normal scope of resources, that this be done with your approval. Would the administrator call you and say, this is what I'm going to do, this is going to take a little more money, this is beyond the norm? As long as you approve it, or whoever's sitting as president, I'm fine with it.
Well, that's the reason for bringing that here for a discussion. That's why I thought it may have needed us to call me the emergency meeting or a special meeting. However, Mr. Grove stated that we wouldn't need to do that, so we can handle it in that light with the concerns here of this body. We vote on it, and we'll go with that process. Okay? Any other comments? That's all I have. Okay, next order, please, Ms. Clerk.
There is no old business. Want to make a note, the commission will sit as a tax board review Thursday, September the 8th. During the regular commission meeting, the tax assessor will be in presence.
Question, please. Do you have any idea, do we have, how many cases? Are there any?
No, sir, he did not say he had any at the time, so.
Okay.
And, Mr. Hopkins, could you say maybe if we can do a press release, because there's so many times that people will call me, well, Commissioner, my tax is too high. I say, well, we sit and review. You have a period of time that you can protest that. So let's make a special effort to see if we can get an outlet to the media, on the radio, and everywhere that we possibly can for the citizens that they can come and do that.
Now, I do know the tax commission did advertise for these.
But let's piggyback with them too, and do a press release to the radio station and do that again. Okay?
One question.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thibodeau.
What was the date of the last time that you could protest your tax?
I believe the original, they were supposed to have them in by the 1st of September.
Okay.
That's right.
1st of September? Okay. Thanks.
Next, we'll move to new business. Have zoning case P611 in regard to ordinance 5123, the 9400 block of St. Vincent Avenue, property located on the northwest corner of St. Vincent Avenue in East Mountain Zion Road, Muslow Timber applicant.
Get a motion to advance.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Cox. We advance this item to Thursday's agenda. Any debate, any discussion? Okay, let's vote to advance to Thursday. Next item.
Zoning case P811 in regard to ordinance 5124, 12,000 block of Mansfield Road, property located on the west side of Mansfield Road, 200 feet north of Old Mansfield Road, Greg Evans, applicant.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Baker,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Pearson, that this item be advanced to Thursday's agenda. Under discussion, we have Mr. Cox.
Steve, it says trucking, what type of trucking we're talking about, gas pipe?
He was talking about dispatching trucks from this location.
He dispatches trucks, that means he's got trucks.
Not from what he described. It's not the kind of operation they come in, but they're not just constantly going in and out.
Okay, well then he's giving you two different answers for the same question.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just going by what I recall him saying at the hearing. He has somebody sitting in this office doing dispatch work, but they're not just coming and going back and forth from his location. He just dispatched from there.
Do you have to give you an idea of how many trucks are coming in and out of this location?
I don't recall the numbers. He doesn't really. It's not the type of operation where the trucks come in and stay at his place and then go out.
Well, what it says here is light industry district for a proposed trucking company, office storage, and uses within the zoning clarification.
Right,
I would
right.
like
It's more of an office type operation than anything else.
Okay. I mean, this
Because
isn't my district.
Right.
Mansfield Road still runs right down through where I am, and we've got probably double the trucks that Yuri Drive's got, or Bert Coons east or west has got, so I would ask that, Mr. Smith, since this is your district, we request that this gentleman, for final passage, should come see us before.
Sure. We'll contact him to make sure he's here to answer all the questions, because he went through that with our commission. There were some concerns from the neighboring church about his operation, about the fencing that would go there, and he met with the church, and they actually ironed out an agreement, a cooperative agreement themselves.
Which church was that?
I don't recall the name of the church. It's a church that's just adjacent to this property.
Okay.
To the north. Radiant Life Church. Thank you.
That's it, Dave? Yes, sir. Mr. Smith?
David, I am familiar with this. As a matter of fact, I met with the trucker and with the church on several occasions. The biggest problem the church has was a drainage issue. This is a light trucking deal where he comes in 10 or 12 trucks a day at best and in and out. Church is totally aware of this and is on board with okaying me.
Okay. That's it, Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Escudé?
Looking at the paperwork, I don't think it can be that big of an operation. The property is only 83,000 square feet, so he could, put a whole lot of trucks on there for any length of time. Okay, thank you.
All righty. Okay, seeing no further requests for discussion, we'll vote to advance to Thursday. Okay. Okay, next order, please.
Zoning case P-1011 in regard to ordinance 5125, 9211 to 9215 Linwood Avenue, property located on the east side of Linwood Avenue, 200 feet south from Mount Zion Road. Judith and Prentice Conway applicants.
Move to Thursday. Moved by Commissioner Cox. Can I get a second? Second. Seconded by Commissioner Dominique. The zoning case P-1011 be advanced to Thursday's agenda. Under discussion, we have Mr. Thibodeau.
On Globo 5, 7, and 8.
Okay, 5,
Second.
7, and 8. Been moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by who? Mr. Escudé, that we in Globo. In addition to that, 5, 7, and 8.
Plus 4.
Pardon?
Plus 4, we have
Right, I said in addition to the one
Okay,
that's
got
on
you.
the table
Understand.
now. Under discussion, we have Mrs. Lynch.
Just want to make sure we give those ordinance and resolution numbers for when our agenda is printed so people can follow along with what we're advancing. Ordinance 5126, Resolution 41, and Resolution 42. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Seeing no further call for discussion, we'll vote. Okay. Those advanced to Thursday's meeting. Now, resolution number 40, Mr. Clerk?
Yes.
Resolution 40, item 6.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Ready?
Which one?
Resolution number 40, item 6.
Okay, resolution number 40 of 2011, adopting a plan for residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance for projects funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson. Seconded by Mr. Escudé. Resolution number 40. Under discussion, we have Mr. Thibodeau, we have
I just needed somebody to give me a little information on it. I'm not familiar
Same
with
thing.
this.
Just want to know what it is.
Okay. Finance, please.
Sure. This is we have to adopt a residential anti-displacement relocation under the LCDBG grants. You know, you all approved to go out for the CDBG grant, the Community Development Block Grant. As a part of the process, you have to adopt this particular plan.
All right, do we, it's under number 6, or following, number 6, so the Caddo Parish Commission will provide relocation assistance as described in blah, 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 to each low, moderate income household displaced by the demolition of housing. Is that already included in the funding, or what?
It would be if under that grant that was a part of the process, yes, it will be included in the grant funds, but for what we're doing, there won't be any displacement.
Okay, so this is just a pass through, but we have to approve it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Ms. Baker?
We already have the place picked out and everything?
I'm not sure about when you say the place. We've been awarded another LCDG grant, and the residents or the customers within that area, that's who we're...
What's the area? That's what I was trying.
Just the Keyfield area.
I think it's the Keyfield area.
District 7 with the extra well,
The ex-
so it's not going to really impact any housing.
No, so it would only apply in that area.
How much was it?
Pardon me?
How much was the grant?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure on it now. What it was, they had some money left over, and we had put this in like a couple of years ago, and they just went back and funded what it was left in the queue, and that's why this got funded. Your most recent projects was Mr. Washington's deal, but this happened 2 years ago. I think it's 240,000.
We can give them that number by Thursday, but Anita's just not here
About
today.
240,000, I believe. But we'll get it for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, seeing no further requests for debate, we'll vote on advancing resolution number 40 to Thursday's agenda. All right, that advances. Next one, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize special resolution of recognition for Miss Jamie Lee Draper Holt.
Moved by the Chair. Seconded by Commissioner Thibodeau. Just a point of information, Miss Jamie Lee Draper Holt is the mother of Dr. John Stokes Holt III, who was my 7th grade biology teacher, which wasn't too long ago. And she's 108 years old, and I'm researching to see if she's the oldest resident in Caddo Parish. Okay. Any other requests for discussion? We'll vote to advance to Thursday. Okay, next order, please, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize the resolution of recognition expressing support for the 10th anniversary of 9/11 National Day of Service and Remembrance.
Moved by Commissioner Lynch, seconded by Commissioner Lynn.
Yes, I'll do it.
Everybody's gonna do it. A host of commissioners. Any discussion? Ms. Lynch? You want, oh, you're not? Okay. All right, we'll vote on advancing to Thursday. All right, that advances to Thursday's agenda. Next order, please.
Authorize resolution declaring National Preparedness Month, September 2011 in Caddo Parish.
So moved.
Seconded by Commissioner Lynch. Seconded by Commissioner Baker. On discussion, Sandra Davis told me to tell you all he was supposed to be present today to speak about that, but due to the situation with the fires in northern Caddo Parish.
He's acting this out.
Okay, all right, he's living it now.
Preparedness,
Okay,
preparedness.
all right, we'll vote to advance to Thursday. All right. Next item, please.
Authorize appointment of advisory member to the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission.
So moved. Second. Moved by Commissioner Cox, seconded by, was that Commissioner LBJ? Yes. Okay, under discussion, we have the maker of the motion, Mr. Dominique.
Who will appoint? Well, the way this is coming out, Bossier's putting one of their board members on there temporarily, so I would like to see one of our board members, and I would like to...
Board member, what kind of board member?
Commission.
Well, Sweet jury over there,
I don't think you can do that.
Yes, you can.
they can't, they say it's temporary. Advisory member. So,
Remember us voting on us as board members were,
well, that's,
got in that thing before.
well,
Make your motion.
my motion
Go ahead,
is
Buddy.
my motion was
Didn't
to
wait.
have John Escadade be our representative for that board.
Well, hold up. All right, if you're going to make a motion, once we read this, you should make it at that particular point in time. This is vague when you say authorize appointment advisory member. You know, if you're going to say, once we come up, I'd like to move such and such, be placed on the board and get a second, then we'll come out of a discussion. So it appears as though this is kind of vague, and so,
Well, it's not vague to the point where Bozier's putting one of their police juries on there. So I would like to see one of our commissioners put on there. And at this time, I would like to see Mr. Escalade do that.
well, I know I wasn't aware. Ms. Frazier, as far as the rules as to the makeup of board members, is this in line with what can be done? Because I thought the positions were filled on board members. I thought that was it.
I would have to actually research it,
I can tell you all about it.
Commissioner, but my understanding is this is not actually a member of the Sports Commission Board. Is that correct? This is for...
It's an advisory.
Advisory, yeah.
That's right. Non-voting advisory.
11 advisory. Okay. All right. Advisory, okay, so,
Voting.
this is separate from the, okay. All right, Mr. Dominic, you still have the floor. You finished? You got your point of information?
Right now, I'd like to just know by Thursday whether we can make a motion to appoint one of our board members to another board.
I have that information.
Now?
No, I will have that
Okay.
information by Thursday.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, next we have Mr. Escalade.
She can research it if she wants to. When the board was set up and Commissioner Pearson involved in all those meetings, there's 5 voting members, once appointed by each parish and 1 at large that'll rotate, that will govern this board. That's in the way the organization was chartered. Each of the 4 governmental bodies has a non-voting appointee who serves as an advisory member, non-voting, okay, which can be anybody. And the reason I know this is because to the voting board, we made our appointment, Ken Ante, the city made their appointment, which was Marquis Pierre. Bossier City chose to put Councilman Don Williams on their board as a voting member, and the Bossier Police Jury put Police Juror Avery. Now, I'm concerned now, given that, this body, will not be up to speed on what's going on there, and it seems like they've let the politicians get involved in the decision-making process. So, at least for the time being, I want to protect our interest, even though it's only in this advisory capacity and non-voting. At least our voice will be heard and somebody will be watching till this thing gets set up and running and on its own. That's the only reason. I don't really have the time nor the interest to do this, but I'm uncomfortable with the actions of the other bodies. I don't mean to say anything bad about our neighbors, but I didn't expect voting members to be sitting on city councils and police juries. So this is a non-voting advisory member, and I believe that you will find, put anybody you want on there. Thank you.
Mr. Pearson?
Yeah, I think you can on the advisory group, but now if Bossier is adding 2 politicians to the board themselves, is that what you just said?
They have.
They have. Well, then that's because I had to get off. Charles got from the
AG.
From the AG, got an opinion from the AG that if this commission gives money, votes to give money to any board or any group, then a commissioner couldn't serve on that body. That's why I had to get off the Sports Authority. That's why I had to get off CCAA.
A lot of us.
Yeah, a lot of us. So Bossier, having put their representatives from the police jury and from the city council on that board, that's not right. Not according to what we found out when we got our opinion. So I think that needs to be looked into. But as for John serving on an advisory capacity, there's nothing illegal about that. I know.
Okay, Mr. Thibodeau?
My question was asked and answered, and will be answered Thursday.
Ms. Lynch? Ms. Lynch?
Okay, so it seems like there's a distinction being made between voting and non-voting, but the board consists of both. So whether you're voting or non-voting, you're a member of that board. Is that correct?
What I'm understanding is that the board itself is separate from the advisory board.
It is.
Is what I understood them to say.
They don't meet together. I don't think. But,
Okay, thank
I don't know.
Okay. All right, Mr. Dominique.
All I know is that about a year ago, we tried to, I think we were anticipating putting on Ms. Baker on the board. And it was determined, it was totally separate from what you are, that was a conflict to put an elected official on the board. And I just recall that. That's why I was bringing it up. Commissioner Escudero, I have no problem whatsoever you serving on the board. I just don't want to get in a violation of conflict. If it is, then maybe Bossier did something like it. I don't know. That was my question. And of course, my first question was who were we going to put on board? I didn't know if we were going to put, we'd already put Ken Ante, so I thought there was another position opening the way it was stated. So, as long as we have that question answered by Thursday, then that'll be fine.
Okay, Ms. Bowman.
Yes, sir. I know while serving on the council, all of the boards that I had been appointed to, because of the AG's opinion, I had to, basically get off of those boards, and I did. I understand there appears to be a difference between advisory and the actual voting board. That, in my opinion, I think that's a big difference. However, who's going to tell Bossier they're wrong? Bossier, you're wrong. Thank you.
You also tell them.
I just did.
We're on second go round. That's it, Ms. Bowman?
Yes, sir.
You're right. Okay, Mr. Escade's been around, Ms. Lynch has been around, let's see, David, okay, we'll come back to you. Second go round.
Just a brief comment. I mean, for the amount of time and effort that's been put into this over the last year, between Mr. Pearson, Mr. Escade, myself, and a few other ones who's been sitting in on meetings and doing some projects that have come up in front of us. The reason why Mr. Escade would probably be the best one right now as an advisor to this situation is because he's put a lot of time into it already. Coach, I mean, either one of those two gentlemen, but right now I think to look after our interests as a commission, I think having Mr. Escade there would benefit us greatly as an advisor. Thank you.
Okay, now let me just interject a point of information. Maybe I missed it. Mr. Cox, you basically should have made a motion and gotten a second that Mr. Escade be appointed on the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission Advisory Board. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we could have come out for discussion. So you still don't have him on the floor. We're just talking, okay? So I would suggest that you get back on so you can make your motion, okay? But let's go around with the ones. Okay, we had Ms. Lynch next.
I'll just go on and amend the motion to
Well,
authorize.
we don't have one, really.
Well,
Make the motion.
he moved to authorize appointment of an advisory member without naming it initially.
But
So you're
Okay.
amending his
So I'm
motion.
amending his
Okay.
motion
Thank
to
you.
appoint, what's your first name? John Escudero. As an advisory member to the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission.
I second.
okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, that clears up. Everybody clear the board. Ms. Jennifer? Okay. Now, I got a question. I don't get a chance to say much. Okay, Marquis Pierre, who is she and is she a voting member?
City Council, voting member.
Okay. Don Bubba Williams,
Bossier City Council, voting member.
Ken Ante,
Our representative, voting member.
Rick Avery,
Bossier Police Juryman, voting member.
Billy Montgomery,
Bossier Parish Assistant Administrator, voting member.
Clay Bohammond.
Those are non-voting advisory members.
Okay. Stacy Brown.
Non-voting advisory member.
Okay, and provided that you are appointed, you will be in this group.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Frazier, still, my question is, even though you are a non-voting member, an advisory member can provide information that could influence votes, okay? That's what I'm thinking about. But that's all the discussion I have. I'd like to vote to advance the nomination to Thursday's agenda.
You did, I'm not up there still?
No, that
Should have been.
I'll vote. Okay. All right, that advances to Thursday. Next order, please, Mr. Clark.
Authorize commissioners to attend upcoming NACO conference.
Macy.
Macy?
Macy. So move, I'm sorry.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Pearson, that commissioners be allowed to attend the NACO conference. Under discussion, we have Ms. Lynch and Mr. Thibodeau.
Just have a quick question. Is that the subcommittee of NACO?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
Of NACO's Economic Development Committee, yes.
Okay, that's it, Ms. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Is the maker of the motion asking that anyone who wants to attend that is a member of the Economic Development Committee go?
Yes.
I'll support it if for one person, not for the whole committee.
Okay, I see no further requests for discussion. We'll advance the motion to Thursday's agenda. Okay, that passes. Advance to Thursday.
Next, we have authorized administrator to utilize parish resources to battle fire emergency in Caddo Parish.
Okay, provide.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Dominique, seconded by Commissioner Lynch, that we authorize the administrator to provide necessary resources and help in light of the fire situation emergency in Caddo Parish. And I think we'd like to add, provided that clearance for anything additional be directed through the president, and we be informed. Any discussion? Mr. Dominique.
I just wanted to discuss briefly, we did have a press conference, as the president has said, with Sandy Davis, and the state fire marshal was there, sheriff was there. Big thing that was there was our local firefighters and chiefs. They have had 4 fires in North Caddo Parish area over the last couple of days, and obviously the high winds have kicked it up. It is under control at this time, but if the winds did come back, it would start those fires again. Yesterday, there was one pretty close to the relay station. It was just tremendously large. Those firefighters and volunteers should be commended. They've been up since Sunday and are still working. Those guys are doing a tremendous job out there. A lot of these guys are just volunteers, girls and men. Safety issues, fire issues, they said that there have been about 1,000 acres up around Oil City that's burned. 1 mobile home, 3 camps, several outbuildings. There's been at least 1 house and several outbuildings in the Ida area. A total of 4 fires, and it's just really bad out there. So I'm supporting this motion. I'm glad that President Epperson came to our meeting today and brought that up, said the parish would do whatever we would need if we had to provide trucks or dump trucks or some type of instrument that we had, or even if it comes to the ability that there may be a financial issue, that would be great. I actually received a call yesterday from Sheriff Prater, and I called him back, and he said he was trying to get permission to go into Caddo Lake so that the Black Hawk helicopters could actually pick up water, but he'd already gotten it from someone else, which is good, because I know I couldn't give it. I was going to just tell him to go ahead and do what he needed to do. But they were actually getting, helicopters were getting the water out of Caddo Lake and making dumps to the fire. He did mention that, there's smoke on the roadways, to be very careful, and please don't be taking pictures of because people are like pulling off the side of the road and taking pictures of these helicopters, getting water, because it's something so unusual, but it's causing a potential danger, with the smoke coming down Highway 1. He said, go all the way to the park or go somewhere where you're not in a danger if you're going to take a picture and look at these Black Hawk helicopters or whatever type of helicopters they are that actually get in water. So never seen anything like that. It's just a tremendous amount of fire. They actually had to close Highway 1 yesterday. Y'all just keep your prayers and thoughts of those individuals that have lost houses, and just hope no one, and at this point, no one has lost their lives. And the fire chiefs and the fire personnel, I forgot what he said, can't remember, they had saved 13 houses. I mean, you're talking about, I think that's what he said, 13 or 14 houses that would have actually burned down this past few days. So they have been doing a really good job, and we just hope everything goes okay.
And further add to that, no lives, no personal injuries involved at this time. And I'd also like to state that Sheriff Prater did call me yesterday afternoon, a little after 12, asking about the lakes. He thought maybe the commission may have had to call a meeting and give special permission. I contacted Charles Grubbs. He contacted Secretary Engel. So that's an open, free, public body of water, even though it's low and all. We know with this emergency, there's no problem with them to do what they did. So they did that, and that helped contain it. And we informed Mr. Wilson also as to what was going on yesterday. Okay, seeing no further discussion on the motion, we'll vote to advance it to Thursday's agenda. That advances. Okay.
Next, we have consent agenda.
Okay. Pearson?
Move to join.